Word.
I put my maroon V-neck on in honor of Derek Hardy.
It's
I
not
swag
deep.
domed.
Yeah, swag dome.
Yeah.
Who-
All right, can
Which
we
David
talk?
said I wasn't going to win.
That's
didn't-
neither here nor there.
You didn't win though.
I got second, but I did win a day of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, every blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
You're the worst.
Just look at Michael.
All right, well, can we talk about baseball now?
Sure.
I guess.
Okay. What are the weather games, you guys? I mean, the only game I care about is being played in Coors Field. So are there any other games that we need to worry about the weather?
It's
I think
getting
that's-
worse in Coors, too.
Yeah, that's actually the only one with weather concerns, I think.
I don't care. I'm playing all the guys.
It's up to the daily baseball data has it at 75%, 100%, 65% thunderstorms. Yeah, and then it continues on with 50% the rest of the night.
TBH, that seems not optimal for...
Less than optimal, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
that's kind of scary.
But it is an interleague game, so you never know how those teams are going to proceed with that because they don't like making those games up. I mean, I guess they could play a doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah, it's the first game of a series, so they can just get it in over the weekend if they need to. If it was a Sunday game and both played on Monday, then you could take the interleague excuse, but not with the whole weekend ahead.
Yeah, that's... Man, I hate fading. I haven't even looked at the other games. Like, I don't even know what the other options are, other than Angels bats. To be
Awesome.
quite
Yeah, I
honest.
mean, it's what, Colorado and Texas bats? Or bats from those games?
Yeah, like, I haven't even looked at... I have a lineup with 4 Twins, 4 Rockies on FanDuel right now. It's
You're
just
not
the only-
mixing in any Angels?
I have a lineup with Suzuki and Calhoun over Rosario and Brandon Geyer, I think.
I like the Cleveland bats, too.
Yeah.
Cleveland bats they did me pretty good last night. They obviously didn't score as many runs as the Angels did, but Kipnis stole a couple bags, so it wasn't. They're always in play.
How
No
about-
George Kataris in Cleveland anymore. He's in St. Louis now.
Yeah, thank goodness, because it is time for him to start getting more plate appearances. I love that dude.
What about
So
old
does Batman.
Perez? What about old Perez last night, Davis?
Roberto Perez, I
Yeah.
called it. He donged, and then I had him in my DraftKings lineup, and Knapp talked me into Darno.
Yeah, Knapp talked me into Darno, too. What the hell?
Yeah.
Lofi, as Dan calls him, did not listen. That he had such an epic night on DraftKings because he did not listen to Knapp.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I saw him in the $27 one. Did he end up winning that one? He was like in third when I saw.
no, he ended up placing third, and then Davis comes in the Skype chat, just like saying, "You guys told me not to stack Twins." Like
None of this
totally
happened. I said one sentence.
in all caps. It was an all caps sentence about how the Twins were raking, and that was what cost Laufey the $2,000 top prize. So.
Aw. Yeah, I had an Angel stack in that, and I was feeling pretty good, and then the Tigers went nuts, and that kind of did me in.
I had Angels and Tigers, and I still didn't win. Like, I won cash games, but I didn't win anything. And I had freaking Zealous Wheeler in the lineup.
Yeah, I got really I had Wheeler and Smolinski as my punts with Angels. I
Same.
thought for a second
Smolinski.
there I was feeling pretty good, but
I didn't
a
have
lot
Trout.
of people did something very similar.
Yeah, I didn't
All
have
the
Trout.
Smolinski.
So it was a weird day because the previous day, like if you got in the 70s, you were cashing. If you got in the 130s, you were on the bubble last night. So lots of runs tonight or last
Part
night.
of that has to do with the pitching, is because everyone had Kershaw, and Kershaw threw a complete game.
Well, yeah, but I mean the scores were high before he even started.
Yeah, the bats went crazy last night.
Yeah.
I think it was. I mean, the Angels were probably the most popular stack, and they hit, so that had a lot to do with it. But, I mean, you had how many? I mean, the Angels scored 14 runs. The Tigers scored like 16, something like that.
They both scored 15. I think. I know the
Yeah,
Angels scored.
I think Leone's correct on this
Yeah.
one.
No, I know for sure the Angels scored. What? It doesn't matter. Let's talk about today's pitching.
Davis is tilted.
Oh,
I
man.
am. I'm so tilted.
15 and 16.
Okay, so starting pitching today, have either one of you convinced yourself to use Felix Hernandez in cash games, or are you still on the Klub train, Leone?
I'm on the Kluber train. I don't really see much reason to pay like that huge of a premium for Felix. I actually have Kluber slightly ahead even without the salary, but when you take the salary into account, we talked about the Coors Field game and the games in Texas, so those bats, they're not super expensive, but you're not fitting a bunch of them in if you have Felix. And Kluber's home against the White Sox team that strikes out a ton, and he's been pretty awesome. Much better chance at a win, so I feel pretty good about him above Felix, especially for the price.
What about you, Dan?
I'm right there with you. I'm all over Kluber tonight. It's a better matchup. White Sox strike out quite a bit more than the Athletics. I mean, the price, like Leone said, I think they're probably fairly equal, not considering price, but once you take price into consideration, then I think Kluber becomes the clear-cut number one.
Yeah, for sure. Outside of those two, I mean, there are a couple interesting options. I know that Cardi's projection system likes Jesse Hahn. Some people are going to want to use Dan Hara just because it's against the Padres. Samardzija is throwing against a Mariners team. He'll have a big park boost pitching against Felix, so that's not great for a win. And then Joe Kelly coming off the DL. The Brewers aren't an ideal matchup, but he's such a heavy ground ball pitcher that I could see him getting through 6 scoreless pretty easy. Who's your favorite secondary option, Dan?
I'm going to go with, I guess it might not necessarily be the next tier down, but possibly a tier after that. A guy that Ben wrote up in today's Daily Diamond that I liked is his long shot, and I like the reasoning behind it. Is actually Chris Archer. Going up against, I mean, you obviously don't want to necessarily take a pitcher against the Blue Jays offense, but it is really subdued right now. Lynn's on the DL, no Edwin Encarnacion. So their lineup is not nearly as potent as what it usually is. It's in the Trop, which is a pitcher's park. So I think Chris Archer provides a decent amount of upside for his price across the industry. Yeah,
for sure. Anyone want to? I was talking earlier in chat about Mark Burley has like a super low price tag on FanDuel or on DraftKings as your second guy behind Kluber. I mean, I know we all hate him, but the regression is probably coming. But this Rays offense has struggled with left-handed pitching all season. Now they're finally getting better against left-handed pitching. We're finally seeing like Forsythe and Brandon Guyer start to hit. But is he someone you're considering at all, Leone?
No, not at all. And it's funny we think of the Rays as a struggling team, but I think they're like 6th in weighted runs created plus against left-handed pitching on the year.
Yeah, they've destroyed like the last month.
Yeah, I mean, and they get Yunel Escobar back, which, I mean, not that he's awesome, but just another right-handed bat in there to help with their lineup a little bit. He doesn't strike people out. Like, I hate taking guys who don't strike people out unless they're, like, really good or it's a really good matchup. But,
yeah.
I mean, the two mid-tier guys I'm on are Zach Wheeler and John Lackey, because I think they both have a ton of K upside, and I like their prices on most sites, particularly Wheeler. I mean, I don't like to use too much BVP, but if you look at Wheeler versus the Marlins, I think it's like 1 earned run in 21 innings and 25 strikeouts in 3 starts.
Dude, are you just trying to tilt me right now?
Well, I think like I mean, they strike out a ton versus right-handed pitching, and I think most in all of baseball. And the Astros are second most, which is why I like Lackey. And the Marlins don't have a ton of left-handed bats in there right now, which is Wheeler's downfall.
Yeah.
So do you like Wheeler above Lackey then?
Yeah, but I've all season kind of had this obsession with Zach Wheeler, like full disclosure.
Very true.
But I do like him slightly above Lackey, just because I think Lackey has a little bit more risk. The Marlins just don't scare me, and it's a better park than where Lackey's pitching in.
Yeah.
Well, there's your point that Davis always brings up with Houston being a somewhat risky team to pick against or pick on.
Yeah, I mean I think they're better than the Marlins, especially when you take into account Park. But
yeah, for sure.
I mean, at this point, I just don't like. We have to stop talking about the Marlins like they're a team that we should pick on. Yeah, they strike out, and that's nice.
He means Astros.
Oh,
yeah, I mean Astros. The Astros are a good hitting team.
Right, but the strikeouts are so valuable that you can keep picking. You don't pick on him with any random Joe Schmo, but Lackey's got like sub 3.5 expected ERAs, so he's a little bit underpriced because he's been a little bit unlucky. Like his last few starts, like last start he gave up 5 earned runs, but he struck out 11, walked 1, and had a 50% ground ball rate. He's not bad. I'm not picking on him with a bad pitcher. I think Lackey's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's important to point out, like a site like FanDuel, especially where you're not getting knocked around if he does let up a few hits to the Astros or if he lets up a run or two, he can easily balance that out with the strikeout potential that he has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw it with Yu Darvish the other day. He got completely shelled, but still had 8 FanDuel points because he struck so many of them out. Now, on Draft Street and DraftKings, it was more disastrous than that. But on FanDuel, where you're really just looking at innings pitched, strikeouts, and earned runs, I think he's probably more of an option there. But for a tournament, we're not advocating using him in cash games at all.
What do you guys...
Oh, go ahead, Leone.
I was going to say, what do you guys think about that Bolsinger guy for the Diamondbacks as a third pitcher on Draft Street? He's like 9K in San Fran.
I hate it, and it's tempting me.
He's really bad.
His peripherals are not nearly as bad as he has been, which is what's kind of drawing me in. But
you don't have a whole lot of options in that tier on Draft Street either, is the thing. Like, you're not going to take a Coors pitcher.
Yeah.
And he's clearly the best option in that price range, which is why he's somewhat tempting.
Yeah. What is Jesse Hahn's price on Draft Street? Like, I would much rather
expensive.
use him.
Yeah, he's way too expensive.
Double
All right.
price.
Yeah, I haven't.
And I don't know. Hahn, like, his K rate in the minors was way lower, so I'm worried, he's gonna get hit with some regression pretty soon. But
yeah, and he's kind of one of those 2-pitch pitcher guys, so I don't think I would try and rely on him too heavily. But for a while, he was pretty cheap on Draft Street. Are you guys thinking that 3 starting pitchers is the way to go on Draft Street tonight?
Oh, definitely. Games? I think there's enough value plays. Like, you might have to risk Bolsinger, but if you want, you could still throw Kluber with, Archer, Lackey, Wheeler, that group. Or if you don't want to throw Kluber, you could just throw those 3 mid-tier guys. They all have upside and all have pretty good matchups. And you got guys like Bryce Harper, Chris Davis, sub 5K, Kendrys Morales, sub 5K. Like, it's not that hard to fit in 3, and it's not like you're taking a bad third with no upside. Your third pitcher is going to have upside.
Yeah.
Can I want to bring up now because I want to be the first to release this news before it breaks in our chat. Plouffe is batting cleanup today if that game goes off in Coors.
Yeah,
so
if that game happens, you're playing, like, you were playing him regardless, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not like you, Davis. Like, the Twins total is 4.5. It's not crazy. Like, obviously there's a ton of value in the Twins, like, at every position, but just because there's value at every position doesn't mean you have to stack.
When a game goes off in Coors, more likely than not, like 90% of my roster is coming from Coors players, especially with these miserable pitchers that Colorado keeps running out. And then who even knows who this guy that the Twins are throwing out tonight? He was awful in the minors, and he's been terrible so far in his 4 innings in the majors.
Oh yeah, I'm talking more like we see with the Padres sometimes. Like, you definitely want 2 guys, because you're getting really good value, but
you don't know you don't know for sure who's going to be the one to dong for them though.
No, but you also, when you take a bad team, you still have risk that you're not going to get much of anything.
But the Twins also aren't as bad as they're middle of the road. They're 18th
no,
in the
I'm just
league
saying,
in
I
weighted
think
runs created.
Mixing in Josh Hamilton, Cole Calhoun is really easy to do and not go crazy with Twins is what I'm saying. Take 2 or 3, don't take 4.
And I think this is something we all agree on, but it's completely dependent on the night. Like tonight, there's a couple other higher run scoring environments out there, so you obviously probably do want to mix in a couple of other guys. When the Padres were in town, it was almost a completely different story because there weren't a whole lot of hitting options available the days that they were in town. So like a night like tonight, I think you do have to possibly get exposure from elsewhere if you can. But it brings up the point where you just want to. Your strategy is going to be ever changing depending on what the games are going that night.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
just while we were talking about pitchers, I created like a secondary lineup on FanDuel that I can like export all at last minute if I don't think Coors weather is going to happen. And there were a ton of options that were like affordable and guys that I liked who were in pretty good spots. But I'm just pretty stubborn about playing Coors because my best nights in baseball have come with taking an elite pitcher like Kershaw or Kluber and then just loading up as many players in Coors as possible because guys like we in the series with the Dodgers, Juan Uribe and AJ Ellis were averaging like 4 FanDuel points a game. Like Coors can make bad baseball players, guys with sub 300 career weighted on base averages, into like really valuable fantasy assets. And so someone like Plouffe, who I think is kind of good anyways, or someone like Kurt Suzuki, who's batting second, are great options for like really low dollar amounts on FanDuel.
I don't like it when you pick on Uribe.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of like agree and disagree at the same time. Like, I think they're all great values. I just don't think you have to stack. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But, anyways, we can move on.
All right.
We didn't mention Jordan Zimmerman. Anyone?
I've got him ahead of like Lackey Wheeler, but I have the gap pretty close that I'm not paying up for him.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere where you can take him, you're just going to take Kluber instead, and then as your second guy on DraftKings, you're going to downgrade a little bit to get somebody else in.
DraftKings hates Corey Kluber.
Yeah, there's like a rule that he can't be above 10K.
It's the
funny,
Swedish net rule.
Sometimes their pricing can be really hard. Like they won't adjust Chris Davis downwards at all, but Corey Kluber can't rise either. I guess that's the deal.
Oh, dude. No Josh Willingham. I just saw that. That is rough.
That's stupid. So you get Plouffe betting fourth, but you don't get Willingham.
Oh, man.
Good, it'll make you play Josh Hamilton. You're lucky. You win.
I mean,
we got a Kluber versus Richards question. I mean, it's hands down Kluber now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just a much better environment. The Rangers lineup is a bit depleted, but it's just a much better pitching environment and progressive. It's against a team that strikes out much more. I think Kluber is the answer hands down.
Yeah, I don't even really think that's a discussion, especially on like a single pitcher site. Okay. Is there any other pitches that we need to talk about?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, since we're somewhat close to the Zimmerman and we're transitioning into stacks, I will say I do think an under the radar stack. Obviously, don't go put all your money on this, but for some reason, the Phillies left-handed bats are coming at me as a possible under the radar stack against Zimmerman. Zimmerman's obviously a good pitcher, but he has shown at times this year, not any time lately, but he has shown times this year that he is capable of imploding. And he doesn't strike out a ton of guys either, so you're getting guys or you're getting balls in play, which is what you're looking for. So I kind of like some of the Phillies left-handed bats tonight, and I wouldn't mind them in a GPP.
Okay. Yeah. I don't hate that at all.
I think
Grady Sizemore leading off.
Oh, Grady.
There you go.
Grady's ladies are going to be out in full force.
That's right.
Renee, she loves that dude. She is all about that life.
Are we? I'm giving an under the radar stack.
All right, yeah, let's do it. Let's start with stacks. I'll let you go first, Leone.
All right, I like kind of like Dan. This is like an under the radar GPP type one. But I like the Pirates getting a big park shift in Cincinnati, and Latos' velocity has been way down. Like he's been getting away with it, but he's not striking anyone out, and he has had homer problems before in that park. So I like the Pirates.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like the other side of that game. I like the Reds. Mesoraco and Ludwig in particular come out to me as guys with big profit potential, especially Ludwig's price tag on FanDuel. I mean, we saw him demolish the Cubs the other day. He hit a homer and I think was like a couple of feet short of another one. What about you, Dan?
Ludwig's price tag on Draft Street's crazy too. It's $3,400 on Draft Street.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see both sides of that game. If you're not stacking in Coors, I think my next top option actually would be Boston Bats against Feldman. I can see them. I mentioned in our little chat a little earlier that a team I think is going to go off tonight, but I'm probably not going to have nearly enough exposure to is the Red Sox. I like how they line up against Feldman. Mike Carp, where you can get him, he's batting cleanup today. And Feldman's a bit of a neutral splits pitcher too, so you're not losing a whole lot if you're rostering some of those right-handed bats like Pedroia.
Yeah, I was really hoping Napoli would be in the lineup because he's super cheap on DS, but he's not.
Yeah, I was too. And then Mike Carp's actually more than what Napoli is, so it's not as good of a trade-off. But I still think Carp is a decent option.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, and I mean, I'll talk about the Angels. Obviously, everyone's going to be on them anyways. But Tepish is pretty bad. The hitting environment in Texas right now, with the weather starting to warm up, is just ridiculous. We saw it last night. Colby Lewis giving up. How many of those runs were earned? Like 10 of them. He just got waxed last night, and the bullpen gave up 5 more runs. So yeah, I think that looking at those guys, and then I mean, obviously the Twins and the Rockies. I think that, especially with the price tags that the Twins carry, like you can take as many of them as you want. You can fit in Tulo, you can fit in Stubbs, Rosario, whoever you want. Carlos Gonzalez in the lineup actually makes it really weird to stack the Rockies because the guy that you want is Willen Rosario versus left-handed pitching, but he's batting 7th, so that's the worst.
That's really annoying.
Let's transition into catcher that way. So Rosario carries a pretty hefty price tag wherever. How much does him batting 7th take away from your desire to play him, Leone?
I didn't notice him really having a hefty price tag anywhere. Maybe that's just how I view him. Like, we have him without taking into account like roster spot or lineup spot. We had him as number 1 in our model today because his splits versus left-handed pitching are just so insane, and they just aren't slowing down at all. I still think he's a core play, almost as much of a must play as Tulo, even batting 7th, just because I'm not a big fan of a lot of the other catcher spots. If you want to save money, if Suzuki's batting 2nd, I mean, I could see that, but he's just not very good.
Yeah, he's like terrible is the problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much upside with Rosario that if I lose an at bat, whatever. But there's still like as good of RBI runs scored upside as him in the 7th spot as a lot of other catchers in their spots, given the run scoring environment.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to spend, if this game ends up getting rained out, the guy that I'm looking at is Devin Mesoraco at the catcher spot. I mean, anytime he gets to face left-handed pitching, like, that dude just mashes. So, like, that's someone that I'm definitely looking at. What about you, Tuttle?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think you have to take a catcher from the Rockies game if the game looks like it's going to get played. If not, I think Mesoraco is your next best bet. And really, I mean, there's not a whole lot of other options out there. You're going to have to pay a price tag on Mezzo, but I think it's the way to go. The only other guy that I could actually even really see rostering would be a guy like Brian McCann. It's not Yankees short porch, but he still gets to bat in Camden Yards. Fifth in the lineup against Miguel Gonzalez, who I think is pretty neutral splits, but it's a good matchup for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one guy I like who's cheap, even though goes against the pitcher I like, is I could play Jason Castro hitting 2nd. He's just really cheap everywhere, and he's pretty good at home against right-handed pitching. I don't love it, but if the Coors game gets rained out, he'll probably be near the top of my value playlist.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's any other catchers we need to talk about, so we can talk about the middle infield. Obviously, if the Coors game gets played at second base, Brian Dozier is your top option. He's $3K on FanDuel. He's affordable on DraftKings as well. But outside of first of all, is Dozier someone you're looking to lock in? I know we talked about maybe not straight stacking Coors. Is he someone you're looking to lock in, Leone?
Yeah, I like him a lot because he's not that expensive. It's middle infield spot, and he's just got big power numbers against left-handed pitching. The park shift will matter a lot to him since he hits for power. I think there are like some okay other options. Jason Kipnis on a few sites for whatever reason. His price seems slow to rise. He's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I really like Kipnis. He's been just leading off for a lineup that's pretty powerful. I just really like him a lot. I think he's a great option. And he's been stealing bases too, which is very nice.
Yeah, and I mean Kinsler's always good against left-handed pitching too, but I wouldn't pay the premium on him over Dozier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys took the best options, I'd say. I don't mind Pedroia where his price isn't too high. Like FanDuel, I could justify the 3,300 tag. Draft Street, he's kind of borderline for me at 6,000. No way I'm paying for him on DraftKings. But I don't mind the play there. You still have the stolen base potential with the right-hander. Then the other thing is I could see really rostering either second baseman from the Cardinals-Brewers game. Wong's batting second tonight in that order against Gallardo. So he provides obviously stolen base potential. And then I do like Scooter, even though his price has risen a little bit. But his skills justify the price rise.
Yeah, I like Scooter too, and he's another one of those DraftKings guys that seems to not have his price raise.
Yeah, what is he on DraftKings? Still 3,700 somehow?
Yep, and he's shortstop eligible too, which gives you some flexibility if, for whatever reason, the Coors game becomes unplayable. You can play him there.
Are you guys talking about Sean Rod?
Scooter.
Good try, though.
Sorry, I'm messing with my lineups. I mean, Sean Rod is the guy I'm taking for value on FanDuel and DraftKings. Like, I love that dude against left-handed pitching. He never comes out that good in projection models for whatever reason, probably because he's not that good. But against left-handed pitching, he's just a guy I like to take for salary relief.
I don't think I could. Like, it's only a $700 difference on DraftKings, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Like, between Scooter and Sean Rod, I don't think I can justify that. I get the Sean Rod love, and I don't think he's a bad play by any means.
I mean, Scooter is also not as good as his numbers would indicate right now, though.
I don't know. He keeps doing what he keeps doing. I don't know. Why do you think that?
Well, maybe he is, but we don't have enough plate appearances to say, like, this is who Scooter is. No.
Okay, but even if you downgrade him, I mean, he's got, like, a 25% line drive rate, a 200 ISO. I mean, those for a second baseman, and he keeps doing it. Like, I don't know. I think he's way better than Sean Rodriguez.
Well, he's definitely better than Sean Rodriguez.
And it's, I don't know, there's a lot of, like...
We're also looking at 524 plate appearances.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying
the only argument I brought up was DraftKings. I can't justify only a $700 difference. Yeah. I could see it like on other sites where the difference between the two is, or the gap is bigger, but DraftKings just doesn't raise, so just play them.
If you guys want to take a trip down Narrative Street with me, I can tell you that a week ago, Sean Rodriguez hit a 450-foot home run off a right-handed pitcher. So if that's the sort of anecdotal evidence that you buy into, clearly he's hot right now. I can't even get that sentence out.
I also worry that with Escobar back, and I haven't completely been paying attention to what they've been doing, but I think he had been playing, the field, and now he's DHing, which to me would mean, a better chance of him getting pinch hit for late.
Oh, he'll definitely get pinch hit for, probably. Yeah, that'll probably
Kiermaier or whatever.
Oh, Kiermaier. I'm honestly surprised he's not in the lineup. Joe Madden loves Kevin Kiermaier. Just adores that kid for whatever reason.
I guess, looking at his Fangraphs page, I thought he sucked, but someone was asking Keith Law about him the other day, and he said he'll hit well enough and field well enough to be an everyday center fielder.
Yeah, that's the thing is he's the power is probably not legit. Like, he's already hit more home runs in 160 plate appearances than he ever had in a full season in the minors. But the defense and the hitting for average is legit. But it's not what we're talking about right now. He's not even in the lineup. Shortstop. So if the Coors game happens and you fade Tulo, you're a donk and you deserve to lose whatever entries you put in tonight, and you lose money on those. So we don't need to spend any time talking about that. Outside of Tulowitzki, what do you want to talk about that, Leone?
No, I just like how direct you are.
It's true. If you're that's the least percentage play ever. Tulo.
Davis lives in a world of absolutes. We discussed this yesterday.
Tell me a world in which it's okay to not play Tulo at home versus a bad lefty.
I done that before, but tonight I agree with you. I think it's pretty. I don't think it's that challenging to fit him in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm just not someone. I guess I'm stubborn. I'm not someone who will punt like 3 spots to play too low just because he's at home, which people sometimes say you have to do. And
well, yeah,
I don't.
you're not fitting him in versus Kershaw, but this dude it's a Chris Johnson with a K.
No, I agree with you tonight. Just like Dan said, like every night, like there are some nights where people say you have to play him at 6,000 on FanDuel and punt like 3 outfield spots to do it. Like I don't agree with that. But tonight you don't have to really punt anywhere. You got those cheap twins. Kluber's a good number 1 for not too much. So yeah, lock in Tulo.
Yeah, like tonight. Yeah. Okay, fine. We had the stupid nuance conversation that Dan likes. Now, outside of Tulowitzki, who else are we looking at shortstop? Dan.
I think the next in line for me is probably Asdrubal.
Yep.
And that's more or less actually probably where the discussion ends for me. It's either going to be Tulo, or if that game doesn't go, I'll probably just lock in Asdrubal.
Okay. Do you want to mention anybody, Leone?
I'm pretty much with Dan. I could see Ibar, but his price has been coming up a little bit. But
I should add. I guess we should.
Yeah, I'd
touch
probably
on
go as
Cozart
Drupal
too.
as well.
And someone just said Ramon Santiago. I don't even know who that is, to be perfectly honest with you.
He plays for Cincinnati, but Cozart actually is in play, batting second now for his price tag against Jeff Locke.
Word. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about a position that is not going to be like Tulo's going to be like 70% owned in cash games. I don't think you're creating an advantage there. First base, real quick before I just wanted to make a note on FanDuel. Carlos Santana is at first base eligibility now, and that's actually
On
who I have.
FanDuel?
On FanDuel, yeah, he's at first base now. So
Yeah,
I
it's kind of
actually.
annoying.
In my non-cores cash game lineup, that's who I have at first base. I really like him tonight. Cause Poole, whatever. Like I don't want to take like Albert grounded to double play Pujols at first base. Is that who you're looking at, Leone?
No, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. I would just go back to Chris Davis.
Nope.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nope. No. Whatever wild black magic made him good for 2 years is gone.
But I was looking at his peripherals today. His line drive rate's 26%. That has to be like near the league leader. Like he's not, and he always strikes out this much. So I don't know. I think his BABIP's like really bad luck.
Yeah, I was just gonna look at what. Let's see what that is.
It's like a 220 BABIP with a 26 line drive rate. Like those two things do not go together.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris Bosh just re-signed in Miami, so I just had to take a second to process that.
Really?
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, 5 years,
I thought the
118
Heat,
million.
or I thought the Rockets was close to a done deal there.
Yeah, Woj just tweeted it.
I wonder what this means then.
What was it?
What does it all
Woj?
mean?
It probably I don't know. We'll find out after the show because we're gonna keep talking about baseball. I'm sorry about my lack of professionalism, everybody. So do I can't bring it on myself to roster Chris Davis anymore. Like he just strikes out so much, and it's just for cash games. It sucks to play a dude who just strikes out all the time because the guys who don't make contact very often are the guys who are unpredictable.
I don't know. Didn't Bales have in his book about how one of the most predictable stats is home runs?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I'm throwing your love for Bales against you.
no. Okay, obviously Bales is a really smart guy, and I think that his book is a really valuable resource. And I also agree with him that power is what you want to play for. Like that, home runs are what you're trying to get, even in your cash game lineups. Like I always think that you should take guys with high ISOs, but I also think you should look for guys with high ISOs who also either walk a lot or don't strike out that much. Because if not, you're going to be taking a really volatile play. Because at this point, it's more likely that Chris Davis goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts than it is that he goes 1 for 4 with a home run. Would you agree with that?
I mean, he's walking more than last year, striking out about the same. Like, I don't know.
So your argument, Mike, is that it's pretty much Bobbitt driven.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking. I don't think he's going to repeat last year by any means, but his 2012 was an awesome year, and I think his second half will resemble that. Like, I'm looking at it, he's striking out right on his career rate. He's actually walking more than he's ever walked. His line drive rate's a career high. His fly ball rate is pretty much in line with his career. I just don't see, unless you think he's hurt and that's causing the raw power to
I think
stop.
that might actually be kind of likely. I think that that might be what we're seeing. I think maybe he has some sort of injury that is not serious enough to put him on the DL. Or
if you think he's
he's
hurt,
just,
stay away. But if you don't think he's hurt, he's a great value.
or he's just getting a little bit older and his bat speed's slowing down, and it's harder for him to make contact consistently.
He's 28.
Yeah, that's when your power peak is at 20.
That's like your
after there.
Your peak years. He's like in his peak.
Actually, Enosaurus has done some research about power peaks and found that power peaks are at like 25, not 27. So we could be seeing, and Chris Davis is like a pure power hitter. So we could easily be seeing like just a little bit of skill erosion. And if he hasn't made the necessary adjustments to his swing or his preparation or the type of pitches he looks at to adjust to the skill erosion, then that could be an explanation.
I guess I would have thought we would see that in his line drive rate or his K rate or something.
Yeah, I'm not claiming to know the right answer. I'm just telling you I'm not rostering Chris Davis. That's all I'm saying.
Chris Davis is going yard tonight.
Yeah, Crush is going yard.
Remember last time I took Chris Davis for the guaranteed dong? Your exact quote to me was, it was something along the lines of not wasting people's time. You told me not to waste people's time with a pick that they're not going to take.
Oh my god, I just hate it.
Wait, Davis with another aggressive statement.
I don't even know why.
that doesn't sound like him.
I don't know why I even do this show with you guys. I hate you so much.
9-1, Davis. 9-1.
Okay. Are there any other first basemen we need to talk about?
Morales, Kendry.
Yeah, I mean, that's who I'm using in cash games. But I thought people would maybe be getting sick of hearing about Coors.
Never.
Yeah.
I think, Ortiz is probably going to be under-owned, along with kind of what Dan said earlier about the Red Sox.
That sounds logical. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to third base. I like Lonnie Chisenhall. Just like immediately when I pulled up pricing today, he jumped out at me as someone who's undervalued. I think I say this every single time on the show because it seems like Cleveland is always facing bad right-handed pitching, but they're facing bad right-handed pitching again. So Lonnie Chisenhall is someone that I'm looking at, especially because Santana is first base eligible on FanDuel. Obviously, Plouffe in cash games as well. Are there any guys outside of those options that you like, Dan?
It's not. I don't like the price on this guy, but I think Frazier's in play against Locke and Great American. And like I said, the price is probably almost borderline unplayable, but I don't mind trying to squeeze him in. I think he's a decent option. Another guy obviously would be Evan Longoria against our favorite man, Mark Burley. I don't think
Ooh, I actually really like that.
He's a really good price on FanDuel at $3,500, so I like him most there. As I scroll through the prices, I think that's where he's most playable.
Yeah, you guys touched on all the guys I like. I don't think anyone mentioned Arenado. I don't know if that's because we're skipping Colorado, but Arenado.
Yeah, people know.
Okay, yeah.
Well, here's a question: do you
Juan Uribe?
Get out of my life. Who do you like more, Arenado batting lower in the order or Plouffe batting cleanup, Leone? They're very comparable tags on FanDuel.
Oh my god, that's so hard. I like Arenado more, I think.
Arenado is better.
For the same price. He's better, and I think the lineup spot doesn't... I think hitting 6th for Colorado is probably pretty close to hitting 4th for Minnesota.
That is actually probably a pretty good point, especially because... Rosario's hitting behind him. You're not seeing a huge decrease in the talent in their lineup until you get to the 8th spot.
Yeah, and you've got a team total that's 1.5 runs higher. So you're talking the RBI runs, scored opportunities, and that lineup, getting back around, a 5th, 6th time is probably, his likely at bats are probably just as much as Plouffe's, maybe even higher, even though he's 2 spots lower.
And I want to mention Pedro Alvarez. I would be remiss. Derek Carty's model absolutely loves Great American Ballpark in terms of home runs. It actually grades out as better for home runs than Coors. Alvarez is a pure home run hitter versus a righty that you said that you had concerns about, Leone. Do you like that pick?
Oh, yeah, I think for a tournament play, I think there's too many, we talked about Plouffe, Arenado, pretty much easy value guys that I probably wouldn't do it in a cash game. But, yeah, I like anyone against Latos, really, in a tournament. I'm probably going to make one Stack Pirates tournament somewhere.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Still on third.
Yeah, still on third. Well, just Alvarez.
Pedro, I can sit. I don't mind it. It would be more of, like a stack play. I'd throw him in with some other Pittsburgh guys. I don't know if I'd just play him by himself, but I don't mind the play.
I mean, I'm completely lost, kind of, with this non-Coors lineup because I
Davis,
did a little research on the other games.
Nick Young?
Yeah. My homie Nick Young got $21 million over 4 years with the player option, so he's gonna stay.
For Lakers?
Yeah, he's gonna stay swaggy.
Look how happy Davis is, like genuine happiness.
Dude,
Swaggy's a good guy.
He is a good guy. He does charity stuff. He's nice to his girlfriend. He's an all-American hero, in my opinion. Yeah. Outfield. So.
Segway.
Good transition.
Yeah, very good. Cole Calhoun.
Just start saying Segway.
Segway. Cole Calhoun more valuable than any outfielder in the Coors game. True or false? Dan.
False.
Leone.
I jumped the gun. False, because I think his teammate Josh Hamilton's better value.
Josh Hamilton is so annoying to me. I love him. He has great story.
I understand. No, I get it, but like 3,100 on FanDuel versus 3,900 for Calhoun. Like, who are you taking first? You're really gonna take Calhoun for 800 more first?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, dude. Like, Calhoun has been so good to me. Every time I've used him, he has just gone off. And it's totally a bias on my part, where every time I've used him, he does really well. And then every time I use Hamilton to, like, save money, or do arbitrage on Calhoun, Hamilton goes 0 for 4 with 2 Ks. So, like, this is completely my bias. So that's why I'm throwing it to you guys who are much less biased and better at this than I am.
Yeah, I'd rather have Hamilton, too.
Yeah. All right. What about Drew Stubbs? He basically is someone who's completely made by Coors. Like, outside of Coors, he's the same terrible Drew Stubbs that he's always been. And it's getting to the point where you really have to pay for him. He's 4.6 on DraftKings.
Once upon a time, people had him as like a top 4 round fantasy pick.
Yeah, that's awful. The thing is basically a bunch of studies have proven that Coors really suppresses K rate. Reasons why would be the terrible pitchers who pitch there, and then also probably that batters know that if they make contact, it's more likely to turn into a hit there than anywhere else.
Yeah, and aren't the breaking balls not quite as sharp?
Yeah, curveballs don't work there. Which is why the fact that Kershaw went 8 scoreless innings and only allowed 2 singles was that's got to be his third most impressive start of the season.
Yeah. The nice thing
really relies on the curveball.
The nice thing with Stubbs is he can homer or steal, high point stats.
Yeah, it's guys who do both are kind of rare now, especially for FanDuel or for DFS, in terms of being able to predict those steals. When you take a guy like Hamilton, you're obviously predicting the steals, but outside of him, there are very few guys who you're counting on both of those things for. Trout doesn't really run anymore, which sucks. Are either one of you, let's just pretend the Coors game doesn't happen. Would either one of you pay up for Trout in cash games, Dan?
Yeah. If the Coors game doesn't happen, I think so, because then you're saving a ton of money at shortstop. If you take Tulo out for Asdrubal, then that clears up a lot of cap room for you to go from, Stubbs to Trout.
Yeah. Right now, my because I'm going up at catcher to Mesoraco. But yeah, I think that, it's so silly that I would ever think of playing the hand in this thing with Trout because he's so incredible at baseball. So I definitely should never, he's one of those guys that you don't take the platoon into the equation at all. If it's if it's a bad pitcher, it's a bad pitcher.
Yeah, and I think, all his data to this point has agreed with what you're saying with that.
Yeah, he's good versus both-handedness. Like it absolutely does not matter. But like and it's even in times when I've needed to spend like or just in general, he does fine against right-handed pitching. I actually think that I'm more likely to take him against a righty than I am to take Miggy against a righty, just because of the ways in which they score fantasy points. Like Miggy has to double dong to get a 10-point game, but Trout can do it with some doubles, like 4 runs scored, stuff like that. So
2 infield singles.
yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like last night.
He's the man. So outside of the Angels and Coors games, who are some outfielders you're looking at? My list includes Brandon Guyer and Desmond Jennings, who are both available pretty cheap across the industry.
Man,
hate
you
Mark
hate
Burley.
Mark Burley more than I do. I thought
do.
I hated him.
Well, I needed to replace Eric Bedard, and so I've just put Mark Burley there.
There has to be, like, I hate Burley so much, but there has to be something to just, I don't even know what to call it, veteran craftiness or something to how he works with the batters to not. I don't know how else to explain it.
But then why wouldn't he have done it any other year in his career? He's had a 4
I
ERA
don't know.
every year of his career.
But I think, Davis, I think one of the things you might be overlooking is, yeah, he's never been good, but, like, look at his ERAs the past 3 seasons. 4.15, 3.74, 3.59.
He's also never been terrible, but he's never been good.
That's what I mean. So, like, even if you're expecting regression, and you're probably right it's going to come, it's not going to be terrible. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if your upside is what you think it is, especially in, a pretty good pitcher's park when there's a lot of good hitter parks out there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's completely fair. Like I have no issue with that, like whatsoever, at all.
Yeah, I mean, I usually stack against him because I hate the guy, and I really don't think he is good. But with that said, I mean, it's not a hitter's environment tonight. So I'd find myself not necessarily, like, I can see rostering Longoria, even Jennings and Zobrist, but I'm not going to roster a lot of these fringe guys that are fringe skill-wise, like Guyer, Rodriguez, Escobar.
Yeah, we talked, like, Ludwig and some other cheap guys. I don't know. I think there's guys in better spots.
I like Desmond Jennings more than, like, all those other fringe guys. Desmond Jennings is really
Desmond
good.
Jennings. Yeah, he's good, and obviously steals can rack up your point total in a hurry.
He's not gonna steal as much versus a lefty, but yeah.
Burley's got a ridiculous pickoff move.
Yeah,
too.
he's got a nasty pickoff move.
Hate that guy.
I do. We're all in this together. Maybe he'll get DFA'd or sent to the bullpen to put us out of our misery.
I think Bryce Harper's too cheap. Is Fink in here?
Oh, no, yeah, you don't want him in here.
I'm on team Bryce Harper sucks too.
Except he doesn't.
He doesn't, but he does though. Like there are guys who have fine end of the year numbers who you just hate for daily fantasy, and he's definitely one of those guys.
Well, I think he went through a phase where he was like way overused last year because he started off hot. But oh man. Don't look at my whiteboard, Dave.
Classic.
We're gonna get a Photoshop. Son of a bitch.
Yep. Sorry.
Oh, I missed it. What was it?
No, I've got a whiteboard in the office now with some things written on it
that I'm sure Dave would find a way to make fun of me for.
Most certainly. Real quick before we move on to guaranteed dongs, are there any other outfielders you want to mention, Dan?
Not really.
Leone?
Yeah, this is one of my shorter lists writing the rundown today. I don't mind Chu.
Yeah,
I know Richards has been really good, but Chu's price is pretty good.
Can I just say something about him? Dink, you, Tuttle, both of you, Kitchen, Fink, Cardi, all of you guys recommend Sinchu Chu to me all the time, and I just never take the advice, and I never regret it. For whatever that's worth.
I mean, he's had a bad year, so yeah, obviously you wouldn't have regretted it very much. He hasn't done too much. But
he is getting really cheap on.
I mean, there were guys last year where we recommended all year who seemed like they had a bad year, never worked out, and then all of a sudden they're good again this year. So I mean, if a guy rates as a good play, as long as I don't think he's hurt, I'll keep throwing him out there.
Yeah. All right, guaranteed dongs. Dan, you first. Obvious under the radar.
Chris Davis, obvious.
Ugh.
Yes! Love it! You know
Under
what,
the
Dan?
ra-
Don't waste people's time. No one's going to play him anyways.
Yeah, don't waste people. He sucks.
Under the radar, Mike Carp.
Nice. Good. We didn't talk about him at all. He's super cheap.
I'm going to just keep pissing Davis off.
Mhm.
I'm going to go Josh Hamilton, guaranteed dog.
That's not making. I have him rostered.
Well, you just had this whole spiel about him and how you didn't like him.
But he.
Davis runs like 5 lineups on 4 sites. So is he? I mean, he has exposure to every single guy every night.
Yeah, I
All
play
right.
on like yeah.
Under the radar, again, pitcher that I like, but I'll go Chris Carter, Astros.
I like it. He is the king of the random double dunk game where like no one sees it coming.
I know. You should, just as an experiment for a whole season, build GPP teams around Chris Carter every night.
Around the Astros every night. If you did that every night this season, you would be in the black, like significantly.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if we should be.
They have
crazy, but.
absolutely destroyed. They've scored like they hit like 4 home runs off of Yu Darvish, or they scored like 8 runs in 6 innings against him. Like they do work.
That's funny that their numbers aren't better then. I wonder how that happened.
How are
Oh,
God,
man.
Don't do this to me right now.
Got him.
I'm gonna go. They're top 10 in
You
leaders.
know, if we only
Davis
count
is
the
not
games they
being
scored
anecdotal.
like
He's
4
not
plus
being anecdotal.
runs, I think you've got a point.
If what?
If we only count the games they've scored 4 or more runs, you're right on.
They are 12th in weighted runs created.
Yeah, that's...
That is so much better than everyone gives them credit for. Everyone's like, "Oh, start your pitchers against the Astros."
Wait, are we arguing if they're better than what we give them credit for, or
Yes.
if you rostered them every night?
Oh my God! Why do you guys do this to me? I'm finally right about something in baseball, and you guys
you're
are
right
like,
if you change it. Like,
yeah, you're changing the argument, so you're right.
you'd be in the black because
see,
you would
the
have.
Astros are top 15 weighted runs created plus. Told you they're better than average.
No, you would be in the black because you would have won whatever GPP a couple times. Like they've scored that many runs.
As opposed, okay, all right, whatever.
You would have won. You would have won the perfect game at least once if you stacked the Astros like every time and got the pitching.
So in conclusion,
Just stack the Astros every night. You know, we don't even need to have shows or content. I mean, that's it. That's like a season-long DFS.
Kitchen, I quit. I'm not doing the show with Jody.
No, you're onto something. How
you are on this.
that be too? You don't have to do any research. Just log on. Go to the Fantasy Insiders Advanced Lineups page. See the Astros. Plug them in. Do the Johnny.
Hashtag Sextros.
You're doing the Johnny wrong.
I do how I do, Dave.
Is that how they do it?
He's doing the Davis.
Is this how they do it? This is like milk the cow. It's this right here.
I can't see you, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Nobody can see you. And then I want to see you because it sounds like you've done something to your hair.
Just a typical comb over.
Okay, let's do. Let's real quick before we go. Let's do. I'm gonna regret this. What decision are you making that you're already regretting, Tuttle?
It's going to be either playing Rockies guys in that game getting rained out or not playing Rockies.
Quick weather update. It's gone down from 100% and 50% to 85% and 25% at the window when the game is starting.
Yeah, it does look better.
I think it's going to get in through. Really, I think you're probably okay with hitters, unless you're being super risk averse. But
I used to be super risk averse, and now I just go straight into the skid. I'm like, whatevs.
Meaning, like, last week, you and Steve were like, oh my god, there's like a 30% chance in the third hour of the game. Should we risk it or no?
It used to be.
God, me and Fink were G-chatting one night, and we both scared each other off the Boston game in which they got shut out by Carroll.
Yeah, that's the one I got
Yes,
scared
that
off.
was the night. That was the night. That's the night Tuttle's talking
And
about.
I still
It was.
lost.
Yeah, I got
us-
saved because I had 4 Red Sox.
Yeah, I definitely had, like, Ortiz in my lineup.
Ortiz was like 50+% on FanDuel, but then whoever I took sucked too, so I didn't even really get the advantage.
All right, Leone, what's your regret?
I don't know, so many regrets.
I know it for you. Josh Hamilton over Cole Calhoun is your regret.
Okay, fine.
It's my regret too because I'm listening to you.
You can. I think I'm gonna screw up the either play too many twins or not enough twins. So I don't know what I'm doing with them yet.
Definitely.
And I'm gonna end up regretting that.
For sure. Kitchen?
Cool. I can vibe with that.
No! God!
Yeah.
Ugh!
So that will be the show. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Fantasy Insiders TV show, sponsored by FantasyElite, the app that you can get in the App Store, and apparently the Houston Astros. So want to thank you guys for...
Oh, we should be so lucky.
What?
To have them sponsor our show.
Oh, no. I mean, they are good. And by good, I mean mediocre at best. So,
like middle of the road.
Yeah. You got
They are above average. They are above average.
You stack them every night, and you are going to come out in the black.
Do weighted runs created from when George Springer got called up. I'll go create the filter right now.
Okay, do it.
Do it.
All right, I'm going
Just
to.
do it.
Do it.
Just do it. Hey, Kitchen, are you gonna play your Elite games or what?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, this guy?
Why?
I want to take you on in the semis.
Okay, well, you're going to get your chance.
Have you advanced, Leone?
Yeah, me and Ryan Chase, I believe, have advanced.
Oh, well, then I need to get my games in versus... We had some scheduling conflicts. So,
it's hard to work it out. But
he's a West Coast guy, and so he can't really do the early slates. And then
he's working.
Right after lineups lock, I'm, like, being a family man.
Tell him to take a scheduled dump, like young Kaiser does.
Dude, true.
That will do it. That's a perfect way to end this week's shows. So I'll do it. Join us on no.
Stop. No.
Do not join us on Monday because we will not be here.
We won't.
No, it's the All-Star break.
Oh yeah, dude, we're doing DFS school.
Ah, that's beautiful.
The 16th and 17th, we will be having a boot camp. We'll be getting times and everything out via Twitter. So make sure you are tuned in there. We'll probably send an email out to all the registered members there. So get your friends that are in your season-long fantasy football league that have no clue what they're doing. Because it's no fun when you brag to your friends and they don't know what a GPP is. Like, oh, cool. They don't
That's
know.
when you do the Money Manziel hands and you say, I paid my rent with fantasy sports.
Yeah.
And they go, man, I work at Dillon's.
Forget the Money Manziel dance. Do the Leone dance.
I mean, I'm probably going to stick with the Money Manziel dance, to be quite honest.
Doing all this all day. That'll do it. We'll see you on Wednesday night then. Yeah, Wednesday night is when we'll see you next, but no Insiders TV until next Friday. So, we'll have to probably find someone because Leone is going to be gone. And with that news, the sky is blue. So,
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to San Fran for the FSTA like a month late.
Oh, cool. And let's see, what is that on your board? Let's see.
Oh, God.
All right, that'll do it. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for
I don't
tuning
get the joke. Was it a penis?
No, it was Mike's board. He definitely has men's products, a list for men's products on there. So that in
I've
itself,
got my attempted keepers in my one league, which you could probably make fun of.
Yeah, no, you drafted Vincent Brown in the 6th round last year, Dink told me. So, like, our friendship is under serious...
Okay.
Like, you're on probation, dude.
2 things. 1, I didn't draft him in the 6th round. Okay. And 2, that league had a ton of keepers. Okay?
No. You were on friendship timeout, dude.
You're right. I should have taken Stephen Hill. I don't know what I was
oh,
If you could
snap.
have taken Stephen Hill, you could have taken him in, like, the 15th round.
All right,
It's
that will do it for the show. Tune in next Friday where we imitate Mike Leone arguing with Davis Maddox. Later.
Peace.